All right, you ready?
Ready.
Cool. I'm gonna press play and see what happens. All right, that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm Or,
I'm eyal.
and we just started a brand new company. It's called Modalics, and we're launching the company and our very first product, Beat Scholar, right now. And we're making this video in order to tell you a little bit about us, about Beat Scholar, why we made it, what it does, and let's get right to it.
So Beat Scholar is a plugin for your favorite DAW, VST, AU, AX, Windows, Mac, whatever. And it's also a standalone app that you can just run on your computer whenever you're getting inspired and want to make some beats.
Right, so the preset that we just jammed on is called This is Beat Scholar, and it's the initial preset when you download and hopefully purchase Beat Scholar. It's the first preset that pops up when you run it, and it exemplifies a lot of the concepts that we're dealing with here. But maybe start with the basics. So we have a pattern here that's called just plainly pizzas, and maybe Eyal can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah. So when Or and I started to talk about this idea of doing a beat making software, we try to find a way where we can express all kinds of things that we like that exist in music that are maybe a bit more edgy. And we wanted to find some visual way that will reveal those intricacies of rhythm to you. So we decided to represent each circle or each beat as a circle. So if we just look at these two little beats, right, it's two circles, we call them pizzas. And let's just fill one of them, fill the pizza.
All right, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah. So this is just on and off, right? One pizza on, one pizza off. This is like your standard step sequencer layout.
Right.
But because it's a pizza, you can also slice it to smaller slices, right? So for example, let's start by slicing it to 2.
So to do that, I'm gonna press the 2 key on my keyboard, and you see the pointer becomes a pizza slicer. Well, big surprise. And I'll click the beat that I want to split, and there we go. And I'm gonna fill the second slice. 8 notes, voila.
Right? And you can see it goes from left to right? And let's start a more intricate slicing, right? So let's start to slice it to 3, right?
So same thing, press 3, click,
Yeah.
and we got triplets.
Right, we got a triplet. And we can even say, like, let's play just one of the triplets, right? Like, or just play 1 and the third of the triplet or something.
All right.
Like,
so
remove the second one.
Yeah, there we go.
Right? Right, and then fill the other one, and we got a swing feel, right? Like a classic, like, swing, triplets.
Very
and
familiar.
You'll notice that the beat always starts from the bottom of the circle and goes clockwise. And that's going to come in handy because in more intricate slices, this is going to help you figure out what's going on. So let's start slicing something else, like 4, 16th notes.
Same thing, 4. So this is 16th notes, and then maybe go to 5.
Yeah, let's go to 5, right? A quintuplet, right? And maybe just play some of the quintuplets, not all
Let's
of them.
do this.
Yeah. Right? So it's a very visual way where you can very quickly get to the intricate parts of the rhythm that you care about and you like, hopefully. So let's go back to the beat that we made just earlier, and let's see how that comes into practice. Let's hear the hi-hats.
So I'm gonna play the entire beat and then solo the hi-hat.
Yeah. Right? So you can hear the little triplet in there, right?
Yeah, and also there's a couple of 16
Couple
notes.
of 16 notes, right? So it's like a cool way to like get some spice out of some pretty straight beat. It's just by having the one triplet in there. And let's listen to the kick drum along with that.
All right.
Solo. So notice that it's very straightforward, but then those little ones show up, right? The 30-second notes.
So you can see on this circle here that it's divided into 8 pieces. And the first and 2 last pieces of the 30-second note are being played. Which is kind of reminiscent of how a drummer kind of does that flam thing with the pedal. It really adds some, some spice to the beat, as you said.
Yeah, and let's open the snare too, right? Because on the snare you also have something weird right at the end.
Yeah, so do it. So we have the quintuplet division here, which if you press 5, you can get that anywhere.
Right, it's just at the second bar, right? And it's almost like a laid back feel, right? It's almost like it's pushing the rhythm slightly out of it, but it's actually very quantized. It's actually a quantized quintuplet.
Yeah, so it's cool. I call it like a very, it's a precise way to get an imprecise feel.
Exactly.
I've heard drummers do this before, where they kind of make the last beat kind of crooked before the kick drum, because it gives it this nice little bounce before the one.
Exactly.
And apparently this is how you do it.
Exactly. And this is just one of the ways in BeatScholar where you can kind of freely express the intricacies that you like. So one way is, like we've shown, to slice the pizzas and everything. Another way is to work with the swing setting. And we took, hopefully, an interesting approach that we hope will make it creative for you.
So we have a preset that kind of plays a straightforward drum machine. You'll see. Maybe take it a bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is good. So, this is nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, I've been hearing beats like this for the past, 40 years or something. I'm not 40 yet. That doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. So let's talk a little bit about the swing slider. You can see it's centered currently, and it has positive and negative values. Oh, dum dum dum. We'll get to the negative side, to the dark side in a second. Let's start with positive swing values, which will give you that standard triplet swing feel.
So 46%, 48%.
48, and not 49. 49 is too much. You want to go higher?
Yeah, let's go higher. That's 71%.
Yeah.
And what happens if you go over 100%?
The universe collapses.
Yeah, so you can go up to 200%.
Let's do 200, just
200.
For the sake of it.
Right? It almost pushes the last note almost all the way until the beat. And you can go all these like little in-betweens, like whatever, 150, 140. Yeah. And let's try the other way. Let's try going to the negative swing.
I like that.
So it kind of skews the timing a bit backwards almost.
Yeah, but this is again like something very human to do. I know music that's played like this.
Let's go even back. Let's make it crazier and more wicked.
It's always like the drunk drummer falls on a kit almost.
But sometimes you want to get that feel.
You want a drunk
like
drummer. Yeah. Sometimes you have no choice. Yeah. So this is a pretty easy way to kind of get a lot out of a simple beat. So we composed a very straight beat. It plays in a certain way. Then just by dialing in a certain amount of positive or negative swing values, we can get this beat to play something that inspires us, to make music that otherwise we wouldn't have. And that's a big part of BeatScholar, basically, is sort of a counterpart for us to make the rhythm composition a very kind of creative and inspiring process, as opposed to a technical one where you just have to kind of fill out the MIDI file with the right positions.
Exactly. We have quite a lot of presets that we packaged with BeatScholar, all kinds of different rhythms, but also different kits and sounds. Let's try a different style of music.
So we have a neo-soul category here, and then the preset is called Astro Laidback, and it's quite different than what we've heard so far. It sounds like this. You want to play over it a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. One. that was fun. So the reason we're showing this preset is because it combines two very important elements that we discussed before. One of them is the swing slider. A big part of why this grooves so hard is the fact that the swing slider is on like 70% positive. And then another part is the way we're utilizing the pizza slicing over here. So you know what? Let's start just by listening to the hi-hat. So you can very clearly hear the swing feel. And now if I solo the kick and snare, this is another important thing. The kick and snare are in the same lane because that's how I kind of thought about the beat when I made it. So unlike other drum sequencing software, I don't have to use a separate lane for each one. So the way I kind of think about the beat, I can exemplify it in Beat Scholar. So let's listen to it.
Yeah. What if you zoom on it a little bit, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So vertical zoom.
I'm gonna hold Command, and I'm using a trackpad, so kind of click and drag, and I can navigate the grid. Yeah, I think this is good. So you can hear the very wonky feeling. You know, I love this sort of style. So just the kick and the kick, snare, and the hi-hat, you're already there. So the interesting thing here is the interaction between the swing feel and the fact that these are divided into 9 pieces, which is something that I would have never done unless it was easy as pressing 9 and dividing, slicing a pizza. I'm trying to keep the terminology steady of the pizza slicing. We'll get that into the jargon. Anyway, so over here it's like the first non-tuplet, 9-tuplet.
9 something.
Yeah,
9-ish.
it's the first slice out of 9, and then it's the last one. And here the kick is on the second slice, and apparently that's very groovy. Like, and once I figured this out, I was like, let's see how deep I can make this groove, and I made this second one. So over here, you can also see that this lane is playing both hi-hats, open hi-hats, and shakers. This one is playing kicks, snares, and cross stick. And one last thing that's happening over here, there's 2 samples that are being played in such a close interval that they have this kind of flam that makes a very big downbeat feel. And I think it's a big part of why this feels the way it does, is the fact that these 2 drums are I have like a precise position to make them play and flam in a groovy way, and not just like a humanized whatever, you know, percentage way. So apparently if you slice a beat into 9 and do like a flam like this, it sounds. So this is something that I really enjoy. You know, once we reached a phase where we could operate the plugin, is this sense of discovery, of doing something, getting a unexpected yet familiar result, you know?
Exactly. And that really leads me to why we made the plugin, right? Because Or and I were known for playing progressive rock music and all kinds of weird things. And we have this flow when we're writing, when we're trying out things, right? We don't know what the music is going to sound just yet, right? Because if I know it's going to be a quintuplet and I go to my DAW or whatever, there's ways to make it usually. Yeah. But usually I have no idea where the song is going to go. I'm just trying to look for ways to mess it and break it until it sounds, you know, just like what we like. So I wanted to show something that was like one of the reasons why we made Beat Scholar. And it's to do with changing time signatures. That's something else that happens, quite often in our music, in our weird music. Like a lot of times we'll start with one time signature and then we'll change to something else, like mid-song or for a break or
mid-bar.
Mid-bar, mid-something,
Yeah.
right? So I want us to start, writing a beat, right? And then kind of modify it as we go
So
along.
I'm going to drive and you just navigate.
Okay, so let's start by doing something simple, right? In 4/4, and let's pick a kit, pick some kit.
Right.
from the-
So over here in the jazz category, we have Cold Fusion, which is a nice little fusion kit.
Okay, and let's start by just having side stick 2 and 4.
I got you. Like this.
Yeah, 2 and 4.
All right.
Yeah,
Easy.
easy peasy. And let's add some 16th notes for hi-hats.
All right, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to show something cool. I'm gonna press 4, and instead of slicing an individual pizza, I'm gonna slice the entire lane like this. I'm gonna press here. You see they're all sliced into 4. Now the second phase, let me just make sure these don't play every time I click them. The second phase would be to fill in 4 16th notes on the hi-hat, maybe Alt and drag to adjust velocity. So couple of tips for you guys, and then copy. So I pressing and holding C, clicking this beat, this pizza, pressing and holding V, and I can paste it like this. There we go. Maybe adjust the sound a little bit, make it darker.
Let me just stick it down. Stick it down in the volume.
Yeah, all right, I'll do both. Yeah, all right, we can go on. What else?
Yeah, so let's have some kick drum happening, right? Some 16th notes kick drum.
So I'm gonna do the same, split this into 4, choose my kick, and then let's do just like random.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm happy right now.
All right, and let's take down the tempo a little bit, make it slower.
That's good. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Now, let's stop this for a second. So a lot of the times we'll start with something like this, but then we'll try to spice it up by adding a bar that's odd right after it. So let's try to add a bar of 7/8 right after this.
okay, easy enough. So you just open a new bar,
Okay.
and then you have these 2 numbers, which are the measure. And you can go and click and drag towards 7, and this one will go down towards 8, and you have a bar of 7/8.
There you go. And notice the circles got smaller, right? Because in our system, right, a circle of a quarter note is double the time or half the time as an 8th note. The pulse in 7/8 is going to be shorter. It's going to be half the size.
Just to show, you can go to 16th notes and it will become even smaller, or to half notes. So it's kind of widens the gap, and you can see the half note takes much more room than a single quarter note. So it's another way we came up with to like visualize rhythm. So let's go back to 7/8.
Yeah, and let's continue these hi-hats pretty much the same way, but because the first bar was we had each circle divided to 4, the other bar, which is double time, to get the same sound or a continuous sound, would need each circle divided to 2.
Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, split this one into 2 hi-hats, Alt drag to adjust velocity, copy, and hold V, paste all over here. You want to do the backbeat as well, or?
Yeah, so let's put the same side stick every second circle, which will actually sound double time than the first bar,
Yeah,
right?
let's check it out.
4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
You want me to fill in some
Yeah,
kick drums over here?
Right. Just
So let's do something like this.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
How about I throw in a drum fill
Yeah.
at the end here?
Yeah, bring it on.
So I'm gonna right click to delete these 2 hi-hat patterns, maybe even this kick drum. let's do something pretty simple. All right, it needs a couple of toms. Yeah, the conga is a happy accident, as they say. I can do. Are you okay with this, or
Yeah,
do you wanna?
that works for me.
It's like a percussionist that's paid only like for that one note. It's like just plays that one conga. You want to jam over it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Oh, one last thing. I want to do something else. Sorry. Just throw in an open hi-hat on the one, just so it's nice, and maybe make the entire thing a bit darker with the master cutoff over here. Kind of a warmer feel. I think we're ready. All right.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is actually how a lot of our writing sessions would sound like, because we have no idea that we're going to go to 7 or whatever weird thing, right? We just experimented, and many times we'd say, oh, let's make it a 9, let's make it a 5, let's break this thing and make it shorter. Or so we wanted something that will make it like super quick for us, so that we don't have to like spend a lot of time, programming something complicated.
Right, because a lot of music these days is composed with this sort of interaction between a live instrument and actual people, and then the machine comes into play. So we wanted like a third counterpart, and we have a melodic and harmonic instruments with us. So the rhythm part, we wanted something that will keep our interaction kind of creative and put us in a artistic space instead of a technical one, which that's the way we felt when trying to create compositions like this in the standard ways. So now, like you saw, like this dialogue that we're having right now would happen even if the cameras weren't here, and sometimes we'd compose here and then figure out how to write it on the computer. And sometimes it's the other way around. Like with BeatScholar, you can play around with measures. I mean, it's so easy that you can get inspired by a measure and then find out what happens to your music. Like how does your music sound in different measures and different subdivisions?
Exactly. So far, the way we've shown BeatScholar was using the standalone app that comes with the installer, which is the quickest way for us to just get a beat going. But a lot of people, like us sometimes, like to work in a more professional setting in their favorite software, and we support that. So when you install BeatScholar, it's going to come with all the plugin formats. For example, now we have Ableton Live, and it's going to just show up as a VST3 and bring it up as a plugin, and it will immediately load with all the patterns and sounds, and you can just play. The tempo will sync to your song tempo, and everything should be playing really nice. And you have all kinds of different ways to integrate BeatScholar into your familiar workflow. So for example, you can, let's say you like a pattern, right? You can just drag the MIDI out of it. So
yeah, so I'm gonna play this one. Yeah, right, that's enough. And let's say I wanna use it, I wanna see it as a standard MIDI event. So I can shift and click drag the pattern from here directly to my DAW of choice. Yeah, that's fine. And close this one. And first of all, you can see everything here. So let's say I don't want to use the sequencing abilities from BeatScholar. I've composed my beat and I want to keep working in Ableton. So I'm going to switch back to BeatScholar. And I can do something pretty cool, and I can turn off the sequencer. And now let's say I'm gonna loop this file. And
let's slice just the first part, right? Let's get the first part out, and just multiply this,
just the first bar.
Yeah, it's first bar,
duplicate
right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So You can very quickly put it into your track, and it outputs just standard MIDI that you can put in any kind of instrument, sampler, whatever, or back into BeatScholar if you like our sounds.
One of the last things we want to cover is the sound section we have over here. It's a pretty dignified section that lets you kind of tweak the drum sounds in various ways. So let's go through it. We have the kit pads over here that we used during the video to kind of prime drums for placement on the sequence area. And now I can listen to them using key commands. That's also important to note. 2 rows of the pads here correlate to your QWER row and ASDF row. So each 8 keys on your keyboard will play the corresponding row of pads. I got through it. Oh, I switched patterns by accident. And all right, so let's select the kick drum and see what we have. So the kick and snare both have 2 layers you can select between. So let's just listen to one layer with the mix slider here. So this kick drum is comprised of this one and this layer. So one of them has more of a body and the other more of a sub. And then I can kind of so you can see you have a bunch of choices. You can kind of, I like this one. Ooh. Let's do this. All right. Cool. Moving on, we have attack and damp. Attack will kind of fade in the sample. Pretty standard stuff. And damp will shorten it. So on 0, it would play the full length of the sample. And we have some pretty long samples here. So this is a very useful button, little knob. Cool. We have pitch and fine, which will adjust the pitch, and then in sense, right? So that's the pitch section. We also have per drum effects, filters, and then drive, compression, a bit crusher. Let's mess around with it a little bit. And in correlation with the filter, maybe some drive. And over here we have room reverb and a plate. And parallel drum distortion, which is something we both really like to use. And you can adjust the gain. Kind of get a lot of sounds going here. And then on the master section, we also have a filter. We have a master beat crusher, which is super cool. And compression. Yeah, and that's what we have here. We wanted to give like fairly minimized amount of control compared to like a very robust samplers out there. But between this and everything you can do in the sequencer part, it creates a very efficient workflow where you can kind of tweak the sounds very quickly, get like big results, you know, for turning a single knob.
You can also drag your own samples in there. So we have a selection of a few hundred samples, but you can just drag in any kind of WAV file directly into the pad, or just click the little folder icon and open it. You can also output each individual drum as a separate track, and then just use your own plugins and effects and whatever to mix it. You can also route the MIDI output of BeatScholar into another instrument you have, like a sampler or another drum machine or whatever. And then you'll just open 2 instruments and you can mess with them in real time. So BeatScholar will send MIDI to your real instrument.
Right. In that case, I might want to do something that's the opposite of what I did before and turn off the sampler. So in that situation, the sequencer will send the MIDI out to the instrument playing the live sounds, and BeatScholar wouldn't play its own built-in sounds.
Exactly, and it will also save a bunch of CPU because it will turn off, you know, all the different effects and sampler engine and all that. So it's a very efficient way if you already know, you know, where you're going to go in terms of sounds.
Thank you. If you made it this far in the video, or if you skipped this far, that's also fine. We really hope you enjoy this plugin. There's a 14-day completely like fully featured trial, And we'd really love to hear from you. We have a Discord server. We have social media pages everywhere. So thank you so much.